In this class, we'll be starting our chapter 3 of standard 12th, and that is reproduction in humans, or human reproduction we can call it. So in this chapter, we will be studying about those basic processes also that we have studied in chapter 1, that was reproduction in organisms. So here also we are going to study those events, and those events were gametogenesis or the formation of gametes, then we came to the gamete transfer, then the fertilization, and then the embryology or the embryogenesis, and then the birth. So these events are same as chapter number 1. So these events are common to almost all sexually reproductive organisms, and likewise in humans also these events will take place. So in this chapter we will be studying these events that we have studied in chapter number 1 with reference to humans, and what are the structures in which those processes are occurring is like for example, we have testes, ovary, uterus, and the various primary and secondary sexual organs. So we will be studying the reference of those processes and how and where those processes occur in the case of humans. So first of all, in the case of humans, we know that humans are dioecious, that is the males and females organism are pretty different from each other, and this phenomenon is called as sexual dimorphism in the case of animals. That is, when an animal's male and a female are differentiated externally, that is, you can externally differentiate between the male of a species and the female of a species. So that phenomenon or that occurrence is called as sexual dimorphism, and likewise humans are also sexually dimorphic organisms. So first let's look at the definition of sexual dimorphism. So the phenomenon of phenotypic differences. So you might have studied about phenotype and genotype. If not, you will study about phenotype and also genotype in chapter number 5 of genetics. So phenotypic differences means external feature differences, that is, you can visualize someone or you can see someone and differentiate it from other gender. So that phenotypic difference occurs in the case of humans. So phenotype here means external difference or visible difference. So phenotypic differences between males and females, or when males and female could be differentiated externally, that is, we can differentiate between a male and female just by looking at external or phenotypic difference. So in the case of external features, we use the word phenotypic difference in the case of genetics, and there we will learn about phenotype and also genotype. So instead of external features, we can also say phenotypic features. So sexual dimorphism is a condition or the occurrence or the phenomenon in which the males of a species are differentiated externally from the females of a species. Likewise, when we see a human male or a human female, we know what are the features that we have to look for if we want to assume the gender of that person. So obviously those features which are helping you differentiate between the male and the female are called as secondary sexual characters or features. So sexual dimorphism is visible difference or the occurrence of visible difference, and secondary sexual characters are those features or characters which help us to differentiate between a male and female. So with sexual dimorphism, we would be studying about secondary sexual characters. That is, these are the secondary sexual characters which are actually helping us to differentiate the male from the female. So these are certain features or certain structures in the body or certain properties of the body organs because of which we'll be able to differentiate a male from a female. So we'll look at the secondary sexual characters in males as well as the females. So let's look at the differences between the secondary sexual characters of males and females. So this table contains the secondary sexual characters of male, and this column contains the secondary sexual character of females. So we'll be comparing each of those secondary sexual characters in males with their female counterpart. So the first difference, so when we see a male, normally even if that male is not regularly going to the gym, we know that the male body is more muscular as compared to the female body. So a normal male would be much more muscular as compared to a normal female. So the first difference is on the basis of muscularity, that is the male would be more muscular and the female would be less muscular. Now these are normal or general differences. There could be exceptions. Suppose there is a very thin male who is on a diet and he does not go to the gym. So there is a female who eats a lot of proteins and goes to the gym. So that female might be more muscular than a male. But we are talking here about the general characters or the general features which we observe in the population. So normally when we see a male, he is more muscular and a female is less muscular. Now this is one difference. Now we have also the other difference on the basis of height. So when we normally see a male and a female of same age or similar age, then we see that there is some height difference between these two. So normally on an average, when we visualize the height, we normally see a male to have a more height or longer body as compared to a normal female. Now this is subjective, this is not exact. For example, there could be that some females of America could be taller than some males of India. So this height difference is very much subjective and it depends on diet. It depends on the race of the human. For example, there are many races like Mongoloid, Caucasoid, Australoid, Negroid, Amerindian. So these are various human races. These human races differ from each other in various body properties like shape of the nose, skin tone, height, general body build-up or the contour of the body. So these human races are very much different from each other in these properties. So when we pick up a male from Indian population and a female from American population, it could be that a female would be taller. But when we pick up a male and a female from a similar population, for example, we pick up a male and female from Gujarat, so it is very much obvious that the male would be taller generally. So there could be exceptions, but normally males are taller as compared to the females apart from the racial differences. Now we come to the second difference, and which is very much obvious because females have mammary glands and those mammary glands are well developed because females have to feed the baby or the young one after its birth. Males do not have to do so, therefore the mammary glands in males are undeveloped. These are not very much absent, but these are undeveloped. So undeveloped is not the same as absent. It is not that males do not have, but those are, that is the mammary glands are not well developed or undeveloped in the case of males, but in the case of females, for feeding the baby after childbirth, the females have well developed mammary glands. Now we come to the third difference, and which is a very much obvious and visible difference. Any male after a certain age, that is after puberty, will start having beards and mustaches, and those could be different in density or color, but in general males would have beards and mustaches. Likewise in females, beards and mustaches are generally absent. So there are always exceptions in biology in every field. So here could also be exceptions, but normally females don't have beards or mustaches. So we can say that females facial hairs are almost absent, but it is not so. Very fine, very small, very thin hairs are present on females face, but those hairs do not grow as in the form of beards or mustaches like humans, because humans have a hormone or males have a hormone called testosterone, and this testosterone is responsible for the facial growth. That is, beards and mustaches occur in males only due to the, or mainly due to the effect of the hormone which is called as testosterone. So we will be studying about this testosterone hormone later in this chapter. So in the case of males, beards and mustaches are mainly formed because of the effect of the hormone testosterone, but in the case of females, testosterone is almost absent. So females do not generally have beards and mustaches. So this difference, that is one, and that is the third difference that you are studying here, is mainly because of the hormonal difference. Males have testosterone as the sex hormone, females have estrogen as the main sex hormone. So estrogen doesn't cause beards and mustaches, but testosterone in males causes beards and mustaches. So this difference could also be said as hormonal difference. So apart from this visible feature difference, the difference is in between the level of the hormones also. So the third point could also be because of hormonal difference. Now we come to the fourth point, and it is very much obvious. After puberty, a male voice is generally heavier and a female voice is generally thinner. That is, we call it high pitched or high frequency voice in the case of females. But in the case of males, we have a low pitch voice which we called as heavy voice, or more bass. There is more bass in the voice of a male as compared to the bass of the female, or the voice of the female has a lower bass but a higher pitch. But the opposite is true, that is, the male voice has a higher bass, lower pitch, but here higher pitch and lower bass. So this is the voice difference between a normal male and a female, and it is very much obvious that many exceptions are present in this case. There are many males, because of certain deformities or abnormalities, certain males have thin voice and certain females have a bit heavy voice. So those are exceptions. But when we talk about the normal occurrence, then we see that males have a heavier voice, or we call it low pitch, and the females have a high pitch or a thinner voice. Now we come to the other difference. Now it depends on the type of breathing. So while breathing, males' abdominal cavity shows a lot of movement, or the abdominal movement of males while breathing is very much visible. That is, the abdomen moves up and down more as compared to the females. But when females are breathing, their thoracic cavity moves up and down more as compared to the males. So we can say that the breathing in males is predominantly abdominal. That is, abdominal muscles play a big role in the case of breathing in males. Likewise, here thoracic muscles play a huge role in the case of breathing in females. In females, the abdominal breathing is not as prominent as in the case of males, because of there are certain organs located in the lower abdominal cavity, like uterus or the ovaries. So these structures are located in the lower abdominal cavity of the female. So abdominal muscles do not play such a big role in the case of females while they are breathing as compared to the female, or as compared to the males. So here the breathing is mainly because of the abdominal muscle. Here the breathing is mainly because of the thoracic muscles. So predominantly thoracic, and here predominantly abdominal. Now we come to the other difference, and it is a very visible difference also. So male skin is generally rougher, female skin is generally smoother. Male skin is thicker and harder. Normally when we see the male skin, it is generally rougher also and harder also as compared to the females, because female skin has more of fat and also more of blood supply. We'll see that later. But normally female skin is smoother and male skin is rougher. Male skin is thicker, especially in the region of soles and palms. So these two regions have very thick skin. So normally on every part of the body, a male skin will be coarser also and thicker also, or rougher also, and female skin would be thinner as well as smoother. And there is one more difference, that is on the amount or the concentration of the hair. A male skin, or on average, the number of hairs on the bodies of males are much more as compared to the number of hairs on the female body. That is, male skin is much more hairier. Male's body possesses much more hairs as compared to females. So we can say that male skin is thicker, rougher and more hairier, but a female skin is thinner, smoother and less hairy. So this is the basic, this is the main skin difference, or the skin appearance, or the texture difference. Now we come to this part, that is Adam's apple. So in respiratory system or breathing system, you might have studied about an organ called pharynx. After pharynx, this region is present, that is the upper part of the trachea also, which is called as larynx. So in males, this part becomes more prominent, a bit larger also, and this part that you can see here is called the Adam's apple. So it is very much visible in the case of males after they attain their puberty. That is, this Adam's apple that you are seeing here is not pretty much visible in a boy of 8 years, 9 years or 10 years. But if that boy crosses the age of 12 or 13, then this Adam's apple will become much more visible, and this also occurs because of the testosterone hormone in males. But in females, the testosterone hormone is absent, so therefore the larynx of females is not very much externally visible. But in the case of males, larynx is visible as something called Adam's apple. So inside the larynx there is something called as vocal cord, which are the actual sound sources of our speech or our mouth or anything that we speak. The sound originates from this larynx, and inside the larynx is the vocal cord. So we will later study about vocal cords and larynx when we will be studying the respiratory system or the breathing and exchange of gases in humans, and that chapter was in standard 11th. So there we had to study about larynx. So now we come to the other difference. So the chest, shoulder and abdomen. So in general, on a male's body, we found his chest, abdomen and shoulders to be hairy, because in a normal male the effect of testosterone occurs, and it is also because of the testosterone hormone. The testosterone hormone is causing the hairs to grow on the region of the chest, abdomen as well as the shoulders. And now when we see that in the case of females, so females do not have testosterone hormone, that is, it is very much obvious that these are absent. Why? Because they don't have testosterone hormone, and males have testosterone hormone. Now we have to see about one more difference, and it is a bit complicated. In general, females feel more cold. When the temperature or winters arrive, females feel more colder as compared to males. And there is a reason behind this. And the reason is just here. Skin has less blood supply. Males have less blood supply in their skin, but females have more blood supply in their skin. Now we are going to study about many other such factors why females feel more cold as compared to males. Males do not feel that much of cold as like females. Now we come to the shoulder and hip region. That is, in the case of males, we have a broader shoulders. The normal shoulder of a male is broader as compared to the normal shoulder of a female. But if we compare the hip region or this region, then this region of males are normally thinner as compared to the females. So males have broader shoulders but thinner pelvic region. But in the case of female, opposite is true. In generally, a female generally possess thinner shoulders and wider hip region or the pelvic region. So males have broad shoulders, narrow pelvis, and opposite is true, narrow shoulders and broader pelvis. So this region is called as the pelvic region or the pelvic bone region. So males have a broader shoulders, that is, this region of males are wider but females thinner, and hip region of males is thinner and females are wider. So this is the structural difference between the shoulders or the pectoral part and the pelvic part of males and females. Now we come to general body shape. So body contour means the general outline of the body or the general appearance of the external body surface. So when we normally see a female, we see more rounded part, but the males are not that much rounded. Male body is less rounded, but female body is more rounded. The body shape or the body contour of the different parts of or the different structures of a female are more rounded. That is why female body appears more round or more spherical sort of a thing as compared to a male body. Now we come to a very important part, and that is called as basal metabolic rate. It is also called as BMR in short. In short, basal metabolic rate is called as BMR. So this BMR is something which is very much subjective, and you might have studied about this BMR either in your respiration chapter or in your digestion and absorption chapter or nutrition chapter. So basal metabolic rate, it is the rate of energy consumption by a person per unit time, which may be in seconds, minutes, hours, or days or weeks or anything. So it is the rate of energy consumption by a person per unit time while being at emotionally, mentally and physically at rest. That is, when the body is in complete rest, then the rate of consumption of energy or the amount of energy that our body is using to maintain the normal body functions like respiration, circulation, nervous activity, excretion and other such activities. So when these activities are being performed while a person is at rest, then that energy consumption per unit time is called as BMR. So the normal BMR of a male is normally higher as compared to the females. That is, here it is lower. In the case of females, we have a lower BMR. So the female body consumes lesser energy as compared to a normal male body while being at rest. So this is what is BMR is. So if we talk about the normal value of BMR per day, then a normal male has around 7100 kilojoule per day. The normal BMR of a male is 7100 kilojoule per day. And if we talk about the females, then they normally have 5900. So the normal BMR of a male is 7100 kilojoule per day, but here we have 5900 kilojoule per day. So as you can see from the data that the basal metabolic rate of a normal male is much higher as compared to a female. So this difference is not mainly due to the gender difference. This difference is mainly because the male's height is more, their body weight is more. So normally a male is heavier than a female. That is why the basal metabolic rate of a male is more than a female. So it is obvious that a 6 feet male and a 5 feet male both will have difference in BMR, though they are of the same gender. Likewise, a female of 5 feet and 6 inches and a female of 4 feet and 5 inches, there would be this BMR difference, though their gender is same. So the main reason behind the difference in BMR between a male and a female is the body weight or the body size, not the gender, because normally a male body is larger, heavier and bigger, but in the case of female body it is generally smaller and normally lighter. So therefore the BMR of a female is lesser as compared to the male. Now we come to psychological differences or the behavioral differences. So it is very much obvious, you must have seen in your schools also or in your normal society where you are living. So males are generally more aggressive, and this is also because of the testosterone hormone. So the aggressiveness or the adventurous nature or the angry nature is more in the case of males, and that aggressiveness or the angry females as compared to the males. So obviously females are also aggressive, but generally males are more aggressive. So it is not that females cannot be aggressive, they could be aggressive, but generally males would be more aggressive, and this is because of the testosterone hormone, or this is the way nature has made the body of a male and a female. So this is why normally because of the testosterone hormone, males will be more aggressive nature and females will have a lesser aggressive nature. Now we come to the last difference, and that is on the basis of fat content. So a male body has lesser fat in the buttock region, in the thigh region and also in the cheek region. So these are the regions where female body has more fat, and also in general female body has more fat under the skin. That is, in any part of the body, male body has lesser fat under the skin, but female body has more fat under the skin. And this difference is more marked in the case of thighs, buttocks and cheeks. So these are the main regions where females have more body fat. So these regions are generally more puffy or more rounded in appearance because of the adipose tissue. So fat is stored in the adipose tissue. So we can also say that the amount of adipose tissue is more in the case of females in the buttock, thigh and cheek region. So instead of fat, we could also say adipose tissue, because fat is stored in the adipose tissue. You must have studied about animal tissues in your standard 11th chapter number 7. There we had to study about different type of tissues like epithelial tissue, nervous, muscular, connective tissue, and thereafter we had to study about areolar tissue, adipose tissue. So adipose tissue is the site of storage of fat. So instead of this fat, we could also have written as adipose tissue. So in general, male body has lesser fat content and a female body has a higher fat content in the buttock, thigh and cheek region. So these are the normal secondary sexual differences in males and females. Though there are lots of other differences on the basis of hair pattern, we can also talk about the genital hair and the armpit hair, but those things are not required on the at the level of need. So these are not all the secondary sexual differences. There are lots and lots of other such sexually or secondary sexual differences, but we will be not studying those because those are not in our syllabus. So according to our syllabus, these are the normal secondary sexual differences in between the males as well as the females. So now we have completed the first part of this chapter, the first intro of this chapter, that is the male body and the female body. This is how the male body and the female body are different from each other externally. In this class we have not talked about any internal organ, that is testis, ovary, uterus, vagina, seminal vesicle, prostate gland. We have not talked about any of those details because in this class we had only studied about the external difference. So from the next class we will be starting the internal difference between the male and the female body. So these external differences are known as secondary sexual characters. So now we have completed the secondary sexual characters in males and females.